Hey, finally. Hello, welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network, presented by Primary Arms. Howdy, y'all. Howdy, y'all. Howdy, y'all. How's everybody doing?
Good.
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 Good. Shrenda, how's your friend doing?
Shantae, how you doing back there? She said good.
No, she didn't say good. She said good.
She did. We may have had some adult coffee.
Nice. Yeah, baby. Adult beverages. Yum. So, what's everybody been up to?
Traveling.
And spending money.
And spending money.
That's always good, the spending
Yeah.
money part.
Yeah, I bought some more toys.
Uh-oh.
Some nice
Uh-oh.
ones,
Let's
so-
hear it. Let's hear it.
I think I've spent the most on a rifle I've ever spent in my life. I bought a 1944 G43, German G43. And I bought a Moss 44. So spent some real money.
Isn't that sweet? Competing rifles. Hey, how many times was the Moss dropped this one?
Yeah, just once.
Yeah, it's probably just once.
Okay.
Actually, wasn't released for the war.
No, this is
It's
post-war.
just right after the war.
Ah. Or at least that's what they're claiming.
Yeah, that's what they're
Yeah.
calling. But they're in shipment, so we don't have custody of them yet. But probably maybe by next week we'll have.
Hopefully.
Hopefully we'll
I'll
have.
have shipping information on tomorrow. So,
Nice.
but yeah, I spent $6 at this auction. So I bought me a P1903 infield bandolier, an original one for $6, which was a heck of a good price. So,
Yeah, I'd say so.
but yeah, we'll see when those get in, and videos will come soon. We got to send some stuff off for the G43 to get fixed. Other than that, yeah, it's common with them. So
Yeah, they're
Right.
gonna put a shooter's kit in it.
Mhm.
yep. Other than that, video will be coming on them both soon. So
Yeah, some
Nice.
say soon.
soon later on.
Later on.
but nothing really in reload. I got I did buy in reloading another copy of the cartridge conversion book, so I have my own copy of it.
There you go.
So, but that's about it in reloading. So.
Which book? Which one is that? Is that Nanti's book?
No, which one is that? Hang on. Come on, where'd you go? It's the hand loaders manual cartridge conversion. That is, whose book is that? Yeah, Donnelly's book.
Okay.
Yep. So, if it doesn't have a cartridge that's older than 10 years old, we have a problem. So,
Very handy book though.
oh, absolutely,
Very handy.
absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
I
Some
think I
of the
have a
stuff's
digital copy
outdated.
somewhere.
Yeah, some of the stuff's outdated, like for some of the cartridges, but most of the time you can find that stuff on the internet. So, but it's a good tool to have. So,
Reference books are always good to have.
Yep.
You know, you can't get away with that without reference books, especially in your line of work. You know, it just that wildcats and everything else you can run into. And,
Absolutely.
You know. Okay, dear. What about you? What's up with you? You got somebody. You got somebody back there helping you out, and
Yes.
And,
This is my best friend. She I have to pull some of my reloading stuff in my office so I can reload. So I'm cleaning out stuff to pull the reloading stuff in. And I also got to clean guns because this weekend,
What is this
Oh.
gun cleaning thing you speak of?
you get them all dirty and shoot the things, and then you got to clean them after so many times of shooting them and not cleaning them after each time.
What do you do?
Well,
Put them in
you-
the dishwasher?
No, I'm going to clean them by hand. I might be the only person that does not mind cleaning my guns. I actually enjoy it.
Oh, okay.
But
We get you a big ultrasonic cleaner where you can just put the whole gun in there.
oh my gosh, I would love to have that, especially for some of these rifle barrels. But this weekend they got dirtier because I was one of the handgun instructors at. I don't know if some of you guys heard of BOW. The acronym spells BOW, but there's state programs for becoming an outdoor woman.
No,
And
I'm not into that.
well, yeah, you probably couldn't be because you're not a woman. But this was the first time they've had an all women staff, which was pretty exciting. So
Okay.
all weekend, and we had a tornado touchdown all around us. So we had to spend a few hours in the shelter eating dinner and maybe partaking in the wine that was evacuated into the shelter. So now I still have to unpack from that and get organized for reloading and just mainly working on connections with Wilderness to get more women outdoors and some sponsorships. And I sit on one of the boards at a local chapter for Pheasants Forever. So we have a charity shoot this weekend. So I've been kind of busy, and then I got the nieces and not the nieces, the little cousins, and now I want to go out and do archery. So I got to make play dates for the kids and actually follow through on them.
So you're gonna teach the little ones archery?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, you give them good sharp broadheads.
I don't know. I think the first thing we're gonna do is just walk the 3D trail so they'll know. All right, this is how far we're gonna walk. I don't want to hear any baby bitching about how far it is and you're tired and you're carrying all your stuff.
So you're gonna Mike's over there showing you a set of
Oh
guys
yeah,
that he's got for you.
is that a 6.5 Creedmoor?
Well,
yeah,
yes, it is.
yes, it is.
Ah, well, I said I was gonna hold off and surprise some of you guys, but the next exciting thing I had was Savage Arms reached out to me and asked me if I would be interested in being one of their brand ambassadors. So I'm going to review their access to precision rifle and just journal my whole process of getting familiar with it, trying to find a range to go shoot it at, like that type of stuff. So if y'all follow my Instagram, it's basically no different than the stuff that I flood y'all with now, only I get a perk. And I already got the shenanigans set up for other women to go shoot it too. So I'm excited about that.
So you gotta find a whole bunch of Creedmoor brass and
Everything.
bullets. Yep.
Powder, primers,
Oh.
everything. I know it's so stressful thinking about all the shopping I'm gonna have to do.
Oh,
And,
Oh, poor darling.
I
Yeah.
know.
Poor
I know,
Needy.
yeah.
So stressful.
We got to get you set up with your 550 and an Armanoff tool head so you can precision reload your 6.5 Creedmoors.
Oh gosh, I'm so glad I don't have to sweet talk you. It sounds like you're already sold, Paul.
Oh, I'm sold. Who you getting the scope from?
I do not know. So that's
Steiner.
the
Oh.
next $1 million
Steiner
question.
shouldn't bender.
Who?
That's going to cost more than the rifle itself. But you
I
want to do
know.
that. You want to go to Good Optics.
I
You
know.
muted yourself, Shrenda.
I did.
No, I'm sorry. I got
Oh.
YouTube muted.
Yep. But you know, I might have to baby step that. I might have to. I'm gonna be realistic. I'm gonna have to get a not so expensive one, and then during my little stint, work up to a better one. Because right now, I think the furthest I'll probably be able to shoot out is maybe 300 or 400 yards. So the biggest research is me finding a range where I can go practice and train it. I'm
If only,
a virgin.
if only there was a
Everything.
website you could use to find ranges.
I know where
Only
the
there
ranges
was.
are. The problem is private memberships.
If only there was a website that would help you find all of the ranges in your area.
Yes.
There is
Oh
one.
wait, there
You happen to know
is
that website?
BritishShoot.org.
www.wheretoshoot.org.
Are you serious?
Straight up.
Yes. Put out by the NSSF.
That's how
NSSF.
Jim found the Sand Lee Gun Club,
Oh, okay.
which is where he
Well-
was. So
Well,
for those of
shit,
you who are wondering.
that's a third of my battle.
see,
Yep.
Oh, and
So-
here's another solution for you while I'm solving your problems for you. Crossfire 2. 4 to 16 by 44. It's anywhere depending on where you get it from. It's usually right around 180 to 200.
I was gonna
But
say I did look at that
now
one
see
today.
if you follow our advice from before the show, it'd be cheaper. So
Yes.
So when Vortex was at, well, they weren't at this SHOT Show, but the previous SHOT Show, I was sitting there talking when I was still looking at doing 6.5, and I was talking to one of the guys who's one of their competitive shooters and shoots in their long range competition. He has a Crossfire 2 on his. He's shooting 800 yards with it
Okay.
accurately, sub MOA at
That
800
helps.
yards with a Crossfire 2.
That helps. So I am letting everybody know. Feel free to flood me with suggestions and information.
So that'll get you started anyway. And then once you decide you're going to get a little more serious, now you've got time to save up for better optics.
That's Schmidt and Bender scope. We're talking 2,500 at least.
Keep going.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna need you to spell that for me.
Jim,
No, you don't.
That's-
if you
Jim.
if you thought a Perazzi was expensive, get a
Yeah.
Smith and Bender.
He's scaring you, but actually it's more to the tune of 5. That many. 1, 2. I can't count that high.
3. Keep going.
take your shoes off, Jim. Keep counting.
Yeah.
Prices
Smith
have gone
and
up.
Bender- yes, Smith and Bender is still the princess of all scopes, and she is mucho dinero.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Night Force is pretty good. Vortex is pretty good. That's probably what you'll wind up getting. But Schmidt and Bender is top of the line.
Okay.
I don't even know if Schmidt and Bender makes a second focal plane. Do you know the difference between first focal
Yep.
plane, second focal plane, Sharonda? Shut up, Paul.
If
I
I
know
was
you know.
if I was all the way sober, I do, but not right now. Jim, I had adult coffee before the show.
What'd you put in, Jim Beam?
No,
Daniel?
they had
Jameson.
bourbon chai. What do we have? Champagne bourbon chai. Yeah, we have bourbon chai.
Oh,
Ooh, that
okay.
sounds good.
They were
Alright.
generous with the bourbon.
So
Hey,
you're
that's
half
not
lit
actually
already.
that bad. Schmidt and Bender, 5 to 25 by 56, PM2 LP is only $3,700 on Euro Optic.
Okay, so let me go
So that's
ahead and
not
put this disclaimer out there. The gun is only $1,000.
So
It doesn't matter. What matters is you have to be able
Double,
to see.
double,
I know.
double.
I'm gonna need to process the scope being almost 4 times as much as the gun.
What was that?
This is
scope
the most
company
I've heard you
said?
talk since you came on this podcast, Sharonda. We're going to have to get you more lubricated more often.
Right. I do get chatty when I got a little.
Paul, I'll just explain the secret. Unfortunately, you're going to have to tune into the show to see what he said because I'm not saying it over the air.
Yeah. We're being nice this week. Sharonda, twice the cost of the rifle is what the scope will be.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So,
figured that much.
If the rifle's $1,000, you put it, it's $2 for the optic and another $5. You could call it another $5 for the rings and mounts.
Yep.
Yep. So, but no, S&B is I think they're about $3,000. Night Force is 3,000. Vortex is 2. So their Leopold is somewhere in the two to 2.5. That's even Burris has got their 3. It's in the $2,000 range. So
I hate to
So
say this.
I got a
hate to-
huge favor to ask y'all.
yeah.
Spell S&B because in my mind I keep saying Sphinxter.
Schmidt and Bender. Oh my God. You
She
are
has
drunk.
had. She is drunk.
Okay.
What's his name?
Okay.
His name is
Shrenda?
Ken.
Oh.
Shrenda's boyfriend's name Ken. Ken and Candy ought to get together.
Oh my goodness.
Shrenda, send me a message
I'm
after
not
the
drunk.
show.
Okay.
I might have a scope I'm willing to sell, maybe.
Oh.
So
Oh.
it's on my 6.5, and I'm looking at upgrading. So
Okay. I see
Yeah.
the comments in the live chat too, guys. I just want y'all to know I'm writing these down too.
okay,
Yeah.
like Paul, do not grow with Paul Loud. Tesco is junk.
Yeah, but then Spudman 76 has got the TT scopes,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is he's right. Those are those are right there at 6K.
Like Loud said, take her drunk. She's home. Anyway, no, I was going to say, I hate to say this about American brand, but to me, I've looked through Night Force, I've looked through Leupold, and well, Night Force is American brand too, but I would buy the Night Force before I buy the Leupold. Leupold's almost cloudy.
Well,
And I know,
Oh,
Paul.
that
You,
glass.
the funny part about it all is that they all say assembled in the United States, okay, Night Force and all that kind of stuff, but they all go over to Lightworks over in Japan, and they sit down and say, "This is the glass I want. This is the quality I want," and Light Force over there makes not Night Force, Light Force makes the glass, and then they get it shipped over here, and they put it all together. So.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with optics. It's all money. It's always money. The more money you can afford to sink in, the better optics you'll get.
Yeah,
Okay.
but you'll find out Light Force makes, primary arms stuff, glass for them. They make, for a lot of different companies. They're one of the largest glass making for magnification telescopes in the world. But when you switch over and you go to European glass and you go to with shot glass, which is, the top of the line, then you're competing in the Schmidt and Bender, the Zeiss, and the Hensoldt world, and now you're really bending your pocketbook.
Okay.
So. U.S. Optics again made glasses made overseas and then brought over here and assembled. Been that way for a long time. Ever since they moved twice? They moved from California to the East Coast and then moved to Wyoming or Montana. I can't remember which one.
Yeah, I think so. Vortex, some of theirs comes from the Philippines and some of it's here. So.
And that's just like Burris's Philippines, China, and here.
The big difference with some of the stuff that's coming out of China versus like your Tasco and your Barska and and your Simmons is the higher quality stuff that's coming out of China is made on the same CNC machines that are being used here and in Japan. So they're just paying a lot less for, their mandatory labor. So
Glass making is an art.
CNC
is.
machines
Yeah.
take a lot of the artisanship out of it.
Yeah, but you still have the quality of the glass, which has to be mixed and batched and everything.
Oh yeah,
else,
absolutely.
To make
Yeah,
it.
if you start with crap glass, it doesn't matter how
Right.
nice you cut it.
That's right.
So
Mhm.
Paul Loud said Swarovski or however the
Swarovski,
frickin'
that's,
Swarovski
Burst.
work.
That's Burst now.
Is it?
Yep.
What the
Burst
hell?
owns Swarovski.
Used to be Nikon was good glass, but they're getting out of the business and they're not going to support anything. So, nope.
Yeah.
I don't care how good of a deal you get on Nikon glass. Don't buy it.
Nikon still sells cameras. That's their main business.
It always has been.
And they're
Now there's.
go ahead.
I was going to say now they're. When they got into the business, there was basically 2-3 quality optics manufacturers. Now
Mhm.
there's 15.
Yeah,
So,
but you go to buy a Nikon lens for a camera, and the only
Oh,
thing
yeah.
worse than that is buying a Hasselblad lens. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Wow. That's a name I haven't heard for a while.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
so.
Hasselblad.
And
Yeah.
they're still making. So,
Are you all done with what you did in Guns and Reloading this week?
not quite.
Oh,
Okay.
we still got the duo and you.
Go ahead, Matt, Nick and Ray.
Already went.
We already went.
Who went first?
Oh, did I tell you I was drinking?
Yes, you did.
I was like, why are we listening to drunk?
I think we figured that out on our own without you telling us. You drunk, you lush, you wino, you enjoy yourself, dear. Anyway, no, the only thing I could claim is I got my T-shirt from Nick. It says Reloading Podcast on it, and I actually gave the show a plug at the Gun Club tonight, Mike.
Cool.
And I'm going to have the name and the link and all that stuff put in the club notes for the meeting minutes and all that. Gave out a bunch of business cards for the show.
Awesome.
Still trying to get rid of them. But they came from the cards came from back when we had our own separate domain.
Yep.
Anyway,
Exactly. So, not much here. So,
did you go to work at Cabela's this week?
yep. Going to be interesting. There's a collection of 50 some guns that came in today, so it'll be kind of cool to see what some of them are
When you say collection, are they new or are they used?
used.
Oh, okay.
So,
It'd be real interesting.
it's mostly older 22s and some Milsurp stuff, and so we'll see.
Careful with that Millsap word. We got two guys.
I
Look at
would
Nick's
say, but
grin.
we're out. We're tapped right now.
Right now.
We're tapped.
What did you guys do? Go attend a big auction?
We spent some money this past weekend. Yeah.
Some
Mhm.
money. Uh-huh.
Oh, 4 figures. Total 4 figures. Yeah. 4 figures.
Wow.
Mhm.
Mid 4 figures.
Ouch.
So
Cleaned out your savings account, did you?
pretty
Uh-huh.
much.
You spent a dime. $6.
Good way to go, Dad. Put the blame where it belongs.
That's all right. I'll charge him if he wants to play with him.
Boy, you will.
Mm.
Because funny thing, they'll be in my FFL. So
Okay. Very well. Yeah.
Only on the Reloading Podcast.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
This is a nice shirt, Nick, by the way. Good job on this, picking it out.
Thank you.
So,
What'd Paul do this week?
Paul just became another day older and another day closer to death. How's that?
I think we all did that.
Yeah. Well, I'm ahead of Jim again.
Yeah, he's
Yep.
70. I'm 69.
oh, good grief.
Yeah.
Jason was going to join us, but unfortunately he got stuck working. So,
Well, he was up there trying to burn a casket.
oh no, that was
See,
yesterday.
Yeah, okay, I saw it today.
You're a little slow, slacker. No, he got stuck at work. He was going to come and join us tonight, but he just got done. So Travis had babbled something about possibly piping in, maybe in chat. So who knows?
Oh, he'll probably do that while he's on his phone at his daughter's event.
We told him, he's in Idaho. There ain't that many drivers on the road. She's 10 years old. Give her a couple of blocks on the pedals and, turn her loose.
It's how my kids learned to drive when I lived on the farm.
Yeah.
He's not talking about the farm, Jim.
I know. He's talking about on the public highways of Idaho. But you were talking about farm trucks and stuff earlier today too.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course, that's a private chat that the great unwashed never get to see. Thank God. Trenda said something rotten about me today, and I called her a turd bird.
Shocker. I've never heard you use that phrase before, Jim.
Paul Loud, yes, I know I don't look a day over 97. Just only 2 days older than God. That's all you have to remember.
You did so, girl.
Anyway.
So what's the topic for tonight?
If I only knew. Oh, wait a minute.
This is Reloading Podcast. We got to talk about something reloading.
Well, if you'd ever bother to pay attention to the chat, the host chat that we talked, before this, slacker, you'd know.
I'll bring it up now.
And then he's going to spend 20 minutes scrolling backwards to figure out what to be talking about. Anyway, so the title of the show is Crank It Up. So we're talking about mass production.
Yep.
BOGS wants to know if we're going to talk about reloading. No, just because you asked, we're not going to. Anyway. So what we're talking about tonight, we're talking about mass production versus how it's different, what steps are going to be different from what you would do if you're making precision ammo. So say you're cranking out, like Travis does, 3-gun ammo. Or, if we're just cranking out some plinking ammo, like mine, 9mm. So.
Yeah, we're talking about, we've been pushing precision loading here for a while, and a lot of people still want to go out and plank and shoot and bring 150 rounds to the range and in 9mm or 223 and put it down the barrel.
Yep. It's not always about you're not going to take and do every single little step, including, case comparison and all the rest of that, if you're just going to take it and do a mag dump with your AR. Well, maybe somebody might. Me? No. If I know there's a good chance that it's going to wind up as a mag dump, I'm not putting that much effort into it.
Yeah.
That's right.
So You know, good reloads. We're not talking junk. You know, we're still talking good reloads.
Yep.
But how do you go about getting good reloads and in a production type situation?
Well, that depends on how much effort you want to put into it. Me, if I'm going to do that, I won't even put it in a tumbler. I'll take them just to throw the brass on and throw the brass through the press, decap it all, recap it all, and charge them up, sink some bullets. I've still got several 100 pounds of 9mm bullets.
Okay. So what press are you going to use?
Oh, I'd use my 550.
Okay. So what secrets do you have to make it faster?
Mike's got something going on back here. What are you doing, Mike?
I was going to try and turn it and show the 550. But
Oh, okay.
I forgot that webcam doesn't rotate like that.
Anyway, for the sake of clarity, we're talking about my Dillon 550 RL, 550B, 550B, and it's a bit of an older machine. But I also have a brass feeder on it. That's one of the biggest things I did to speed up my reloading on that. Yes, I still set my bullets by hand. I do not have a bullet feeder on it. All I have is a brass feeder on it.
Which brass feeder do you use?
The Dillon one.
The Dillon? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did not invest in a Mr. Bullet feeder yet, but we have someone that might think. I think might. Well, never mind. I thought I had a deal on something, but I guess I don't. Anyway, but maybe looking into a Mr. Bullet feeder or something in that order.
Okay.
But that would be for speeding it up even faster. Right now, if I load 1,000 rounds in 8 hours time or an evening's time, I'm satisfied.
All right.
Now, on a 650, you can go quite a bit faster because it does everything for you all the way till it dumps the ammo.
Depends on how you got it set up and what you've got
Yeah.
for accessories.
True.
I mean, if they're both bare, it's not much faster. Yeah, it auto indexes, and you've got an extra station. So theoretically, you're allowed to, you can set up so you can seat and crimp in 2 different stages.
Right.
But in the grand scheme of things, it's not much faster if you're hand feeding everything. So
Right.
That's exactly right. So you put a Dillon brass feeder on there, and some kind of bull feeder on there.
Mhm.
It would be faster than a 550 by hand. That's for sure.
right.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've got the brass feeder and the case feeder on the 550, you can
Right.
still
You still have to index by hand on the Dillon
right.
550.
Right.
But if you're not putting cases and stuff in, you can index as you're moving. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the 550 has the ability to be rather rapid if you work at it. So,
Mm-hmm.
don't want to discount the 550 for mass production of ammo, but
No.
yeah, the 650, that's the difference between the two. Is 650 you've got, or 750 now, you've got one more station, and which allows you a little more flexibility. Some people will crimp and seat separately. Some people would have put a powder cap in there. And what a powder cap is, it's a mechanical device that tells you that there's actually powder in the case. So you don't have to physically look. That's kind of one of those things. And then, I mean, you can get serious about it. You can go, I mean, if you really want to get serious, you get yourself a Camdex. Which is, complete.
Yeah, but that's not the concept of the show the way I understood you, Mike. We're just trying to knock together some ammo real quick to get on the range and burn it up.
Right.
I'm just saying, you got the money, you could buy a Camdex.
Yeah, well,
And then you could really crank out some ammo, but that's a whole different story. So, but 550, 650, 750, whichever one you've got. Lee Loadmaster behind me. Whatever, I can never remember what our CBS's is.
The Pro Chucker 5 and 7.
Yeah, and then you've got the Hornady lock and load AP, which is actually out in the garage, and it's set up for 380. So
There's a comment online from Paul Loud. It's actually a good comment for once. He says that he runs on his 550. He runs several throws to confirm powder measures, throwing the correct charge. Actually, Paul, I go even further than that. It's a good comment, but I go further than that. I dump 10 times. I dump 10 loads, and if I have to adjust it, I dump 10 more until I can get it exactly right, because I want to hit the average. If I need 10.5 grains per round, I want to hit 105 grains on 10 charges. So what I do is I set up 10 cases, charge them through the 550, and then dump those 10 charges into the pan, my powder pan, make sure I got 105 grains, and on so on and so forth.
Well, if you're getting 105 grains with 10 charges at 5 grains, you're overthrowing in there, because you should only get 50.
no, he started out with 10.5 grains.
Oh, 10.5 grains? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was breaking up a little bit.
Okay.
Um,
Sorry.
Andy 79Z28 said another press that we kind of forget. The Lee Auto Breech Lock Pro. He said 200 an hour. The other thing is the Lee turret press actually has a auto indexing feature. So
A lot of people swear by that equipment.
What we
Michael
use-
Dunn. Michael Dunn said, or Mark 7 and really crank them out. Well, the Camdex is going to kill the Mark 7 as far as it. Basically, a Camdex to a Mark 7 is like comparing a 1050 fully automated to a 550.
Yeah.
You know. So, Michael Dunn said, I like my Lee Value turret press, singular progressive mode. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. Paul Loud, finally a good comment. If I had feelings, they might have been hurt by that. Good thing you don't have feelings, Paul. Paul, let me know when your brother gets there.
Yeah.
I heard he's flying out there. For those
Really?
who don't- yeah, his brother Chris is flying out there.
I don't think the state of Maine will ever be the same. Those two get together.
Oh my goodness. No, probably not. Suddenly the eastern seaboard is on fire from, well, anyway.
From the loud and sharp conflagration.
hmm
Oh my God.
So brass prep.
That's
We're going to stick with 5.56 because frankly, who actually does brass prep on pistols for plinking ammo?
Okay.
Oh, you got to take in, make it hard, don't you? Do you?
Right. Well, we
Well-
got to talk about differences.
Okay.
So with my 223 cases, basically it starts out the same. They're going to go into the tumbler. And then I'll decap them and size them. I may check for length. I may not, depending on, how many times I've been shot. If I don't know, then I'll probably go through and check them because you don't want to have long cases. It doesn't work out very well in the end. So, I mean, there's still some stuff that you're going to have to do for brass prep with plinking ammo that you would do with precision ammo. So precision ammo, you're still going to trim everything down. Plinking ammo, you still have to make sure it's, cut. It's still to minimum or, cut down to proper case length. Bullets, you're not going to, plinking ammo, you're probably not going to anneal. I mean, some people do. But if it's plinking ammo and I don't really care, or if it's like 3-gun competition ammo and I'm not getting that brass back, I don't care. So, but trimming is definitely a necessary thing to do. If it's once fired, you're probably not going to need to. If you don't know, you probably will. Just because that's usually the way it works. So, you're not going to sort bullets. You're not going to measure them. Yes, Jim.
Question. You're going to check case length. What's the cheapest way to go?
I was going to recommend Lyman makes that. I think it's a six hole case gauge. You can just quickly dump them in there and measure a bunch of them pretty quick.
Yep. or you buy a set of plastic calipers. Or I think I paid for my, what's that company's name that works with Midway on reloading? Frankfurt Arsenal. I paid $14 for a set of little digital calipers.
The other way to go on that is to buy one of the RCBS case gauges that are just a piece of cutout metal,
Yep.
where you can just you pick up a handful, you start, boom, 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 you
Pretty
drop
quick.
it. Okay.
Yep.
So, yeah, the case gauges you're talking about, where you drop them in, they're great for fully reloaded rounds. And when you're sizing brass and that kind of stuff. But just to check it for case length, that gauge from RCBS is really great. A couple other people make them too, if I remember correctly. The thing that we have to remember is removing the crimp.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what's the fastest way to remove the crimp, guys?
Phillips bit in your drill.
Okay.
Chamfer tool will work too.
Yep.
I like my swaging tools.
Well, see, you asked about the fastest. You didn't ask about the nicest. So,
Well, you see, the thing is, too, I don't like to take away metal from that primer pocket because I want to support my primer as best I can. So the swaging setup I'm talking about, like you said, it's not the fastest, but it moves metal. It doesn't remove metal. It moves it. Puts it aside.
yeah. But back to the case length. There's one easy way you guys forgot. Trimmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Pretty quick. Slap your brass in, run it in. Oh, it's good. Okay. Slap your brass. Oh, there's a gap. Oh, I got to trim it. Okay. Just trim it quick, be done.
that's a good.
Because you're not handling it twice then. If
Yeah,
I'm checking the length of every single one of them,
Yeah.
and then I've got ones that are long, now I have to handle it again to trim it.
That's the same tool I use, Paul.
This is
Yep.
RCBS primer pocket swaging tool. They're handy. Dylan makes one too, which is very nice.
Dylan,
Mine's
on
the garage.
Frankfurt Arsenal's got one, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
Actually, mine is a little quite different than what Paul has there. Paul, would you hold that up again? I'm going to enlarge you if you don't mind. So where did you put the case?
Case goes onto the rod here, gets dropped here, the handle gets pulled back, flip it, take it off, put another one on.
Very good. Now the case mouth goes on that black rod, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Case mouth goes on there.
Okay. Andy Andy 79Z28's got an interesting comment too.
Yes, the newly APP press with the primer pocket swager is a nice tool. There are some issues with it as far as the case slide through. You can pop the rim of the case off of it with it, but it's a good tool. The other one is if you have a press. RCBS has their
On-press swager.
on-press swager, and if you have the FW Arms swaging rod, you can set that up in there, and it's kind of spring-loaded, and it kind of makes it go a little faster.
Mhm.
That's the tool I have. That's the tool I was suggesting.
If you have a
on-press swaging
550,
tool.
650, or 750, you can get the swage it kit for it.
Right.
So,
But that's, things to make things go faster.
Mhm.
Um,
Running with Scissors has a question. With components being more expensive, wouldn't you want to anneal to extend case life? Maybe it's just me. I'm cheap. I admit it. So Running with Scissors, if you're picking up your brass and you're saving your brass, sure. if it's plinking ammo and you have no intention of picking up your brass, why bother?
Well, the other thing is too, like Travis said, that if you're doing 3-gun ammo, you know you're not going to get the same cases back. If they always make you wait until the end of the day before people come in, pick up brass. You know there's a good chance you're not going to get your brass back. I wouldn't anneal it.
I'm a brass goblin. I pick up all my brass, even if anybody else's. I mean, that's just how I am.
You should have gotten one of what's that guy's name down in Australia?
Hunt shoot off road. Is that it?
That's
Yeah.
it. He was selling those brass goblins.
I've got one.
He
Okay,
still
good for
does
you.
sell them. So, and
Yeah.
if you use the code RLP 10, you get 10% off. So,
Mhm.
Typically, that brass I pick up like that, I'll throw in a particular bucket, and when I've got time, that's the stuff I'll go through thoroughly. But
so if you are going to anneal, you should use the EP 2.0 from Elster.
Right.
yep, that
So-
works. There's others.
Yes, there is. There's Annie. There's the Annealies. There's the there's a whole bunch of different induction styles. So Michael Dunn says mark your brass if that's the case. So
Done that.
quick side question: Black Powder Channel. What are your thoughts on crimping 338 cartridges? I reload them on a Lee single stage, but the crimping die requires me to get a completely different single stage press.
In a bolt
well,
gun, I wouldn't bother.
Yeah.
Semi-auto,
agree.
yes. Bolt, no.
Well, first off, he doesn't say what 338 cartridge he's shooting. So I'm thinking he's shooting a Lapua.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's loading a magazine, and if he's loading it and he doesn't have enough bullet pull, then he might want to crimp. Preferably not, but with not enough bullet pull on there and shooting in a magazine, he can either set the cartridges back because from recoil, and he may want to.
I'm not laughing at you, Paul. I agree with you because what he's talking about is there's so much recoil on a 338 that the bullet's inertia and the case's inertia are two separate issues. And the case's inertia is lighter, which causes the cartridge to actually appear to lengthen.
or shorten.
Well, that's when you get your bullet. The bullet nose is
Set
actually
back.
jammed
Right.
into the case.
Right. So, if he's having that problem, then crimp. If not, don't bother.
Lapua Magnum. Well, for the moment, Black Powder Channel, I would suggest that you single load them, see what kind of the recoil is going to be. Try a couple in the magazine well, and see how it goes. Just take your time and see what's going on. If it doesn't move, you know you're golden.
And if you don't have enough bullet pull, look at reducing your expanding button on your sizing die, or just taking it out and using a mandrel to expand. That way you can control it.
Good question, BPC. Thank you.
What dies is he using? Do we know?
No,
Okay.
He didn't say.
he's reloading them on a single stage Lee. That's all we know.
Those are what, 1 1/4?
No, 1.5.
1.5. Those are big dies.
Or no, 1.25. You're right.
1
1.25.
1/4.
Because I'm trying to figure out why would he need to change presses? Because
Yeah,
if he just say he's using Lee dies, it's the same thread pitch. He could probably just get the Lee factory crimp die for 338 Lapua and be fine.
He's using a standard Lee die set, which means
Yeah.
it's still a 7/8.
No,
eight.
is it?
Yeah, it's still a 7/8 die.
Is it?
Okay, you don't move up until you get into the Barretts. When you
Well, that's
need
just-
bigger.
I'm on Titan Reloading in the 338 Lapua die set, 2 die set. is
Call it
interesting.
die set though.
Oh, hang on then. Hang on.
Lapua.
Side question: Jeff Kuiper, who has the high pitch whistle in their mic, that's Paul. It keeps picking up his fan. We keep trying to work on this though.
Oh, he's using these. And the 7/8. Are they? Didn't say. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that factory crimp you have to step. That's why he was going the
Yeah.
other press.
It's probably the case of it doesn't have enough length to work.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you'd have to step up to the 50 BMG press.
Well, I think it's because it uses a collet, which is extra space, and
Well, you can crimp on the factory seating dies.
yeah, but you got to. That's another step to turn
But-
the die down. And,
It's an option.
Whether that one's set up that way or not, I don't know. I guess
Is
we'd
the
have to
bullet
research
set
that.
up that way.
That cartridge is a monster cartridge.
Mhm.
it is.
So, okay, so we didn't mention one important step with the brass, and that would be what?
Primer pocket cleaning, primer hole, flash hole deburring.
Why? It's practice.
Never
rules.
mind about flash hole deburring because it's a one time only issue. But we're talking about reloading or hand loading as opposed to reloading.
So any that we trimmed, what do we have to do?
Chamfer deburr.
There we go.
Chamfer deburr.
We're not.
Yeah, I
cleaning
saw
the
that
primer
comment
pocket.
earlier, and I hadn't gotten back around to it, and I forgot. Good point.
We're not going to clean the primer pockets. We're not going to deburr the flash holes. It's practice ammo. We don't care. I mean, you could if you really wanted to, but that's a little silly, especially if you're not picking the brass back up. For the most part, this is predicated on the fact that you're not going to be able to guarantee you're going to get all your brass back. When you're doing all of this preparation and all of this, you're planning on the fact that there's a really good chance you're not going to get all this brass. In fact, figure you're going to get less than 50% of this brass back.
And you want to put all that work into it.
Yep.
Truthfully, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to go buy Wolf and Tula and just burn through it and let it sit.
Okay.
You still can reload cheaper though.
You're going to
Yeah.
get brass. It's just not your brass.
Yeah.
But think of it like it's a mad minute. And so you're going to get brass back. You just can't guarantee it's your brass.
Yeah.
So,
You know,
and for those of you who don't know what a mad minute is, basically that's where everybody spends a minute firing everything they can as fast as they can. So, anyway,
the thing is, just think of it as policing your brass at the end of the day instead of policing your brass as you go.
Right.
You know, and everybody's got to do it. Everybody down the line. So, or you're all firing at a competition,
hmm
and you know they got to run the people through. So, yeah, all right. So we've come to that. I'm going to sit down and say I'm going to trim my brass with a Little Crow trimmer. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm going to deburr my brass with a drill and a you know, deburring bit because it's just faster. I can just pick it up, drop it, and you know, on there.
For me, I would use, I've got one of the Hornady trim stations.
Okay.
So it's already got the deburr and the chamfer bits on there. I just flip it on and pop, pop, done. So basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take it from my trimmer. I'm going to hit that, pop, pop, done into the wherever I'm storing it until it goes into the press. So basically it's somewhere along the lines. Now, if you only load one cartridge, get a Girard. Because the Girard's got everything in it. So when you trim it, it champers and deburrs automatically for you. Other thing is that RCBS that I've got, you can actually get a head adapter that goes on it that will chamfer and deburr at the same time. The Lee hand trimmers will chamfer and deburr at the same time. There's just different things out there, and you can put the Lee in a drill or in that zip trim and set that up different ways. So, I mean, there's options out there that you can get so you can trim, chamfer, and deburr all at the same time. A lot of it's not cost effective for those of us who load multiple cartridges because a lot of that's specific for each cartridge. So, anyway. So we've got our brass ready to go. Now what? We kind of already covered part of it. Got to make sure our powder thrower
Yep.
is
I was
consistent.
going to say, pick out your powder. Decide what you're going to use.
Pick your powder.
What's available?
Right. And maybe what's cheapest.
That too. Well,
So,
if you want to do that, if you can get some tight group or bullseye,
that's the other thing to consider is, there's 7,000 grains in a bottle of tight group. There's 7,000 grains a bottle in a bottle of Varget, but per cartridge, how much of each are you using?
Right.
So, and the other thing you need to consider if you're using tight group, are you filling the case enough, or is it going to lay down flat and cause problems? So that's the other thing you got to consider. Pistol, not so much, but usually with your rifle cartridges. So,
If you're sticking with 223, you're going to be in, no matter really what powder you use, you're going to be around 24 grains.
Right.
Give or take.
Yep. So, and that's plenty. It's not going to be a compressed. So,
Yeah.
Michael Dunn said he just customized Forster 3-in-1 trimmer head to fit his Lyman trimmer. Had to bore it out 70 hundredths or 7/10, whatever. Anyway.
I think he meant 70 thousandths.
Yeah. Well, if he meant 70 thousandths, that's, yeah. Anyway. So we get our powder. We figure out what our charge is going to be. Then we set up our different powder throwers. Every single company's got a little different way to set it up. Dillon's is kind of nice because they got a little dial on there. It's a nut, but you can buy the little or 3D print the little knobs. Oops, I just turned that. Son of a. So yeah, I bumped my knob on my 9mm, so now I get to throw 10 charges out of that and make sure it's still set right. Amy, dumbass. So you're gonna throw your charges. All of them have a way to throw a charge without actually putting a case up there or whatever. So you just figure that out. Do your 10, do your 20, however many you want to see your consistency. And then some people will stop and check every once in a while. Nice thing about the Dillons, they got the little pin you can pull and pull the brass out right away. Some of your other ones, you don't have that option. So we get our powder set up right. And then we got to finish. We never even really talked about setting up the dies.
No.
How do you set up dies on a progressive? I mean, on a single stage, it's kind of easy, especially for the decapping die. You run the ram all the way up, spin your decapping die down until it touches, drop the ram, turn it a quarter, and lock it down. Is it the same principle all the time on a progressive?
No, you got to play with it a little bit to see, where each tool head that you're using sits. But it isn't real hard. I mean, you're going to have to either have a case gauge where you can drop the case in to see if it's being sized right, which is now where we're getting to where we can use a case gauge. One, to see if it's being sized enough. Two, to see if we're setting the shoulder back. Pistol, it's basically the same thing. We're going to sit down and we're going to run a case through the resizing die, pokes the primer out, gets it down low enough, check to see if it fits into a case gauge, and or use the barrel of your gun on a pistol. You can drop it in to see if if you size it enough to get flush with the face of the barrel breech. I like to use a case gauge. They're cheap.
Yeah.
Between $8 and $20, you can get you get whatever you need. If it's a custom rifle, you may want to have a gunsmith open up a chamber for you. Chamber part of the cutoff on the barrel to have a case gauge made out of it with the reamer that he used to chamber the gun.
Yep.
But yeah, you just start with a first one. Are we doing handgun or rifle?
We're doing 223.
223. So we size it, we check it to the case gauge, and we drop it down. We may have to size it 4 or 5 times to see where we're at to get it so it fits in that case gauge correctly. Then we'll go to then on the station 2, powder drop. We talked about having to drop our powder, and making sure that we have to make sure that we have the correct powder dye in there, so the case doesn't spill powder all over the press. Loading up primers. We got to load up primers, so someone's got to sit down, depending upon how your press works. Lee has got where you have a primer tray and it feeds. Dylan has got a tube that you have to feed through. So does Hornady and RCBS. So you'll have to load up primers. Take a few minutes. You're loading 200 rounds, so you got 2 packs of primers to pull out.
Yep. Running with Scissors has another question. He says, if it's throwaway brass, do we worry about shoulder bump?
Sure do.
Yes, you do, because you're still making sure that it fits the chamber correctly, and shoulder bump's part of that.
Yep.
So it's just you're not being as detailed as you would be with precision ammo. It's just a general bump. So
yeah, 4,000. 4,000. You're not gonna sit down to keep it at 1 or 2,000. So you're gonna go a little bigger and get it so it fits.
Yeah. So here's something we didn't really address correctly. If we're going to check the length on it, we have to have sized it first.
Exactly right, because sizing always comes before trimming.
Right.
Because when you pull that expander ball out, that's what stretches your case.
So we kind of bypassed that and didn't really make that clear. So what you could do if you don't know is you could use your single stage and go through and resize it all that way, and then trim it. Would we want to resize it again?
I wouldn't think.
Ideally, you do it in a double operation. Ideally, okay. You have one tool head set up to deprime and resize. Okay, that's one tool head. You take it then and you do your case trimming, and you have another tool head that's set up to load the ammo. Okay, in other words, it'll have the actual powder measure in it, and it will have the seating die and a crimp die if you're using it, or a bullet feeder die. However, and being just a little anal retentive, because if you clean your brass after you resized it and you ran it through a tumbler with media in it, put a decapping die back in, so you clear the flash hole.
Mm-hmm. But that may not necessarily be a step that everybody wants to do.
Right. But if you don't want to do it and you just want to run it straight through, you can run it straight through. Okay. Yep. And if you're worried about the case length, like I said, if you just go through and check your case length with an RCBS gauge, you can pretty much tell if you're going to hit one that's going to be way oversized.
Right.
So.
So, we'll presuppose that however you got to that point, you get your die set, you get your powder throw set, then you get your bullet seeder set. How do you set your bullet seeder on a progressive?
Carefully.
Why, thank you.
You left your cell phone for that, you shitbird.
Jim gets a gold star.
Well, how you do it on progressive? Well, you're not doing anything else except setting the bullet, the depth of the bullet. So you clear the press, and you keep your way I do it is I put it in the press, put the case in the press, put a bullet up on top, screw down the bullet seating plunger until I can feel it touches the bullet with my fingers. You'll feel the resistance. This is if I'm setting it for the first time. If I'm setting it for second or third time, I don't worry about it because, like I said, I'm making plinking ammo. Mm-hmm. Anyway, you'll feel that bullet seating plunger come down, touch the nose of the bullet. Then withdraw the cartridge from the seating die, and you advance your bullet seating plunger one turn. That's going to be about 35 to 40 thousandths, depending upon the thread. The case will just barely hold the bullet. Run the press back up, seat the bullet a little deeper, keep adjusting it that way until you get the thing to the bullet to where you want the ideal cartridge overall length.
Okay. So you're repeatedly putting the handle up and down.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What I do is I take a round that is.
Wait a minute. We're talking about first time. We're not talking about dummy rounds.
Okay.
Dummy rounds.
I'm not talking. I'm talking a round that I got a factory load here that
that'll work too.
Take a factory round in there, back the seating stem all the way off, bring the press all the way up, bring the bullet into there, mm-hmm. then screw my seating stem down till it touches the bullet.
That's right.
Then take it up, almost lock it down. I'll give it about an eighth of a turn more because there's a little spring back in the brass
and the press and all that. And I'll go from there. That's I'm making just plinking ammo, so I'm not worried. I'm not going to worry if I'm 2 thousandths long or 2 thousandths short or whatever. I just want to be right there. We're just making burning ammo for the range.
Right.
Sorry about the mic. Just going to take in hip shoot 2 or 3 magazines. Like I said, like Mike likes to say, mag dump.
Yep.
We're not worried about accuracy. We're more worried about making noise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, it's a lot of fun when you do.
Oh yeah.
Look at Ray's face. He's laughing his ass off.
So we get all that set up. Do we need to crimp?
No.
No.
I never crimp rifle cartridges. Never. The first time I tried it was with the 30-30. I wound up buckling and causing the shoulders to expand, buckling the neck and expanding the shoulder. It took me a hell of a long time to figure out that I was pushing too hard on the crimp die.
But this isn't 30-30.
I know that. I know
This is
that's the
223, and
first
we're shooting
time.
it out of an
That
AR.
was the first time I tried it, crimping rifle cartridges. I don't do it no more. If I do, I'll use my my Lee factory crimp die that I don't own yet. Actually, I do have a 308 factory crimp die.
Okay.
I do just because I've got that die in my station. I'll run a factory crimp die, but some of my other rifle rounds, if I'm getting good neck tension, I don't always crimp.
Paul?
You see, and that's the thing about annealing. Annealing comes in when you're doing the hand loading thing more than it does with the reloading.
Yeah.
Because, like Ray just mentioned, neck tension on hardened brass is going to be a little bit higher than it's going to be on annealed brass.
I've never crimped anything other than a handgun round. So some 458s that I loaded for some people. So
Those are hardy. Those got to be a bunch of hardy souls.
yeah. That's a that, you know, when you start getting into the 416s and the 458s, and you're dropping 100 grains of powder on there, you know, you want to crimp that.
Not to mention the 500 grain projectile.
Right. And they have a crimping groove. Okay. That's the other thing. A lot of, you know, if you look at a dangerous game bullet as far as the crimping groove versus the crimping groove on a 5.56 bullet, a lot of time that cannular that they put in there is it barely makes a dent in the bullet. So it more or less raises a ridge. So if you're seating into it, you know, I don't see a reason to really crimp, because you're seating into that raised ridge that cannular is made. So.
I knew a guy, I swear to God, he was 5'2", weighed 120 pounds, and he loved his 458 Win Mag.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
A little guy like that can ride on the recoil somehow, but big guys like me, Paul, Mike, and Nick, that thing just tears you up every damn time. We're big enough that we soak up the recoil whether we like it or not. But a little guy like Don was, he just rode the gun.
I didn't have too much of a problem with the 458. What hurt was the 378 Weatherbees. Those were the ones that, you know, high velocity, big bullets. They hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I know one thing we haven't mentioned. You're talking mass reloading it for speed.
Mm-hmm.
Being that we haven't done any brass prep, when we go to seat that bullet, we've got to be aware of neck splits. If you get a soft bullet seat, which you can normally feel through your press, first thing I'd check would be a neck split.
Yep.
I felt that same exact sensation you're talking about when the cartridge splits when you seat the bullet, Nick, Ray.
Yeah. I've never felt it on a Dillon because I don't have a Dillon, but I'm assuming you can feel it just like you do on anything else.
Should be able to,
Different.
yeah.
With the Dillon,
difficult.
I'm sorry.
It can be difficult on some presses. Okay, that split in the neck, especially with like a 1050, if you're running a 1050 or something like that, you will not feel it because you're doing seating the primer at the same time, resizing the brass, swaging the primer pocket, and then dropping the powder and seating the bullet all at the same time. Very hard to feel. Biggest thing is at the end of the day is doing a visual inspection.
Wouldn't hurt to use your calipers to check a few cartridges, just spot check.
Hmm.
And spot check every 10 or 15 rounds your powder drop.
Exactly.
So,
Yep. Yeah, I mean, there's still stuff that you're going to do on a mass production scale that you will do on a precision scale just because it's reloading and it's reloading. So,
Here's a question, and I've often thought about this. When you're doing that spot check, and I typically do it every 10 rounds, you pour the powder out, put in your scale, and you're checking the weight. Do you pour it back in that case and continue reloading, or you just keep chugging away, take that powder?
I keep chugging away.
That's
I just put it all aside.
That's what I was thinking.
It isn't worth trying to put it back in and go for it. Just dump it. And in fact, with my electronic scale, I'll just sit down and zero it out with the powder that I have in there. So the next one comes in there, I just dump in to see what I have.
Yeah, I found that quicker.
So
yeah, same here. If I'm checking powder, and I'm doing it, if I'm dropping it in brass just for easy sake, I'll take the brass, dump it into the tray, set it off to the side because it's got a primer in it now.
right.
I didn't do that once, and then I realized that I popped the brand new primer out.
Ooh.
I'm like, oops. Thankfully, there was no bang because I'm smooth like butter.
I've never had a primer go off in a press.
I have.
I have.
I mean, I've had a set of primer go off in the tube, okay, but I've never depriming a case and having a live primer in there. I've never had one go off.
Oh, I've never had that happen.
Yeah.
No, the one that went off on me, I was loading 20 gauge shells, talking to Jim, and I popped one. So on my reload all.
Hearing protection, eye protection when you're reloading, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yep.
Jim isn't talking over there.
Snyder.
That's from the tinnitus that he's got from
the screeching in my ears. No, I've actually had primer pop off. I got it. I was a little frustrated, and I actually slammed the handle forward to seat the primer. Well, I had to decap the case. I was getting frustrated. It's one of those. Remember that with the Federal 40 brass that the flash hole is so small. No, it's the anvil. The anvil in the primer is such a perfect fit. It was actually pulling the primer back up into the case when I pull the decapping stem out.
Yep.
Oh, I wound up getting rid of all my Federal brass at that time.
Mine was a much simpler solution. Take some.
Take a sharpening stone and dull the pin.
I just took 800 grain sandpaper and went real quick. That was all I needed to do.
The thing is that I use Forester dies, okay, and they come with 2 sets of pins, so you can sit down and run a smaller pin than what normal. The Lapua brass uses a small pin, so you need to use. So with the Forester die, they send you the small pins, and so if I run into that kind of a problem, I can always change out and put a small pin into the die.
We got a good comment up. It's he says I thought this was supposed to be quick blinking runs, and here we are. We're talking about hand loading instead of reloading.
We're
Thanks,
just
Greg.
talking about using a piece of brass up. That's all. If you're running into a problem, what do?
Mhm.
Right? I mean, you're going to throw the case away. That's fine. You want to throw the case away? Go ahead.
I mean, the bottom line is if you're cranking out your mass producing ammo, there's a good chance you're going to run across problems. So,
Yeah. How many people reload 45 and all of a sudden run into a small primer?
Yep.
I've never done that.
get that
You've never
crap
done
out of
that, yeah.
here. Thanks, Winchester. Bastards.
Well, you got that 6.5 Creedmoor's got the same issue. I mean, it's
So
I've
does
been running
308.
into it with 308 too.
308. I've never seen it 308.
Palma brass has a small flash hole,
Wow.
Yep.
or not flash hole, small primer pocket. Small primer pocket.
And if you shoot Lapua brass, you have small flash holes. So
Yeah.
it's just going to happen. But back to reloading for speed and volume. So we've sat down, we've got everything, we figured out we're going to crimp. We're going to, the only thing we haven't decided yet, are we going to use a bullet feeder?
If we have one.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got let's see, Hornady makes one, RCBS makes one, Mr. Bullet Feeder. Depending upon what you get and what you do, you're gonna run into that. So we got 4 stations on a 550, 5 stations on a 750. Station with 223, I don't think. Well, yeah, you could get away with a bullet feeder on a 550. It drops the bullet on 3, and then seats it on 4.
Right.
So
But you also remember on rifle ammo, we generally don't crimp
right.
unless because you can't use a Lee FCD on station 4 because you won't see the bullet. All it does is crimp.
Yep.
Right. So we have to, or else have the die adjusted. But boy, then we have to have every case right. So no, we
Right.
don't crimp. We can't crimp if we're on a 4-station press.
Well, we
Yeah.
can, but it'd be a separate operation.
With a bullet feeder, you can't crimp on a 4-station.
Oh, I agree with that. Yes.
Right.
I'm just saying the bullet crimping could be and should be, well, if you're going to do
Separate.
it could be, it would have to be separate.
Now we could get away with 223 and do a taper crimp.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
Fine.
I don't do taper crimps on a rifle ammo. Not with two die set.
Well, it would be a 3-die set with a
Yes.
taper crimp. Redding makes a taper crimp for it. Dylan makes a taper crimp for 223. So you can do a taper crimp there.
Since we're making bulk ammo, are we going to use, and we're talking about 5.56 223, are we going to use 55 grain FMJ Botel?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're not basically just all going to do is punch holes in paper.
Yep.
Or maybe a coyote once in a while.
Yep.
Yeah, we're just going to punch holes in paper in the ground or whatever,
Slam
tear up the
steel.
backstop.
Tree stump, piece of gravel downrange.
Yeah.
Side of the barn, Whatever.
Nah. That barn didn't need ventilated anyway. It needed ventilated anyway.
That's right.
The one thing I always do now is look in the case to check what kind of primer it is. Berdan primers suck. That's from our friend Craig, No Middle NFC, November Mike Zulu.
Craig,
Yes, you'll find that you will run into Berdan Prime, and if you're rolling right along with a case feeder and a bullet feeder, you will run into a Berdan Prime and you will break a decapping pin, and everything will come to a screeching halt,
unless
Well,
you
you-
use a lead decapping setup, and that then the seating stem is made such a way that it can slide up if you set the tension on the tapered plug just
Correctly.
right. It'll slide up
Yep.
rather than break.
Yeah.
I'm waiting
But
for FW Arms' new one to come out. They have a new one they're working on for Berdan.
Say again, Nick.
So FW Arms, they're working on a new one that for their universal decapping. It's been a while since they've talked about it, but what it is, it's their decapping die, and they have this push button system. What it does is it pushes it up. All you have to do is
I'll reset it.
reset it.
Ah,
So I'm waiting for them to release that. I don't know if it's ever going to be released, but because we run into a lot of Berdan stuff because we never know. So we'll just pick up. Oh, say hey 308. We don't know. It could be Berdan. It could be Boxer. We take that chance. So
that's why they make borescopes so that you can look down inside there, Nick.
yeah, or you just take your cell phone and use the light on that. When you
Well-
find a bucket full of it at the range. So,
Or there's this amazing invention called a flashlight.
yeah.
Oh, I can't see.
You
Well,
couldn't see before that, Jim.
the thing that I say is that I'm just going to use my FW Arms decapping,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't broken one yet.
No.
And I have punched through Berdan cases with it. So
Or you can, if you're using the Lee ones, you can get the Squirrel Daddy replacement pins, and they'll
Mhm.
punch through too.
Right.
FW Arms makes a universal decapping pin for the lead eye also.
Yep.
And it's a lot stronger, a lot better. I like it.
So Buster B002 wants to know pros and cons of using non-Magnum primers on a Magnum cartridge, specifically 300 PRC. I have a lot of match large, but no Magnums.
How many grains of powder is he putting in that?
That's going to be the big question. Let me look quick. Ding, doo, doo, doo. Come on. Da, 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 da. The big thing is going to be how full is the case.
And how many grains of powder?
Yep. Because if it's a lot of powder, you're going to need that Magnum to light it.
He says about 70, 80 grains of H100.
He needs a Magnum.
You need the Magnum.
Did I say H100? I should have said H1000.
H1000. Yeah.
We knew what you meant.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. That's kind of one of those things you can get away with using the Magnums and the regulars, but you really can't get away with using the regulars where it needs a Magnum.
Especially with H1000.
Yeah, because that's a bad powder to have burn wrong.
Right. I mean that's a damn log that you're
Yep.
dealing with.
So.
If you were dealing with 70 grains of 4831, I would say you could get away with it.
Mhm.
But H1000 is it's a damn log.
Yeah, you need that match, or I mean that Magnum for that
Yeah.
hotter.
For your own safety, Buster B002, we recommend that you use a Magnum primer, especially with that long barrel, that difficult to ignite powder. Go the safe route. You're going to have to change cartridges, that's all, and guns, till you can get those new Magnum primers.
Jargon Reagan. Without running the test, there is no guarantee match primers will give you better consistency over regular.
Of regular Magnums, he said.
Yeah. Match primers have come a long way since they first came out. So I don't have qualms about using them in a cartridge that say up to 70 grains of powder, I can use a match bench rest primer. Some of them are hotter than others, just so you know. And if you look at it and you take a 308 piece of Palma brass and you're dropping 47 grains of Varget in there, and you put a small rifle primer in there, it sets it off without too much of a problem. Some primers are better than others as far as that goes. Boy, it's a can of worms, guys.
Yeah, I'm going to plead some ignorance here. I've never really messed with switching around. Is it more of an ignition problem, or are you going to see a difference if you run it over a crony, a difference in velocity and
Both?
Both?
Both.
Okay.
You can get poor ignition will give you wide variations in your in your velocity. Okay. So, and you can get hang fires with poor ignition.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I see you're better off running a Magnum in lieu of a standard if that's the case, but not the other way around.
Correct.
Okay. Good to know.
And again, it depends upon powder and it depends upon the volume. Some of them you just have to run it. I mean, when you start dropping, 90, 100 grains of powder into some of these cases, you have to run a Magnum primer in order for it to work.
To go off topic for a few seconds, Mike, remember him?
Who?
Jason Bauer. We've had him on the
yeah.
show. Jason Bauer, you rascal, how you doing?
Yeah.
Been a long time. I was still living in Pennsylvania when we had him on.
God, that was like episode 35. I keep up with him on Facebook. He's been doing quad racing for quite some time. So, but yeah.
All right. Sorry. Go ahead and get back on topic. Sorry about the thread drift.
Well, we're still going on that running with scissors there. Pistol. He's seen accurate data where they suggest using a small pistol primer instead of a Magnum with accurate in 357. Well, that's accurate because they test it. Yeah, accurate number 9.
Yeah.
So, they've tested it.
Yep.
It worked. Okay. Now,
doesn't necessarily mean always, but
what manufacturer primer was it? That's the kicker. Winchester is pretty much, not too much of a problem. CCI isn't too much of a problem. Federal, well, okay, no. Federal standard small pistol primer is pretty soft, and I like them for target loads in 38s. And a couple of my 38s will only shoot those primers. So you still want not a real hard, still a hard enough primer. And it works the other way too, running with scissors, where I use a small rifle primer in my 38 Supers, competition guns, because I get reliable ignition and it's a hard enough primer where I don't get any back out or flattening or piercing of the primer. So it works both ways.
For the podcast listeners, I'll elaborate. For the YouTube guys, the reason why I have this comment highlighted is Jason Bauer. Careful with tight group when loading 9mm. I'm not sure the powder we're talking about, but when Jason was on the show earlier, we went on at length somehow or another. I had spoken to him on the phone, and helped him set up his Dillon 550. But somehow or another, they ran into a double charge case, and I think they were using tight group. And the guy that actually shot got a bit of a hand injury, destroyed the gun, destroyed the Glock, and all that stuff. But it was a smashed pumpkin nightmare.
Tight
Well,
group is easy to actually triple charge your case. You can actually triple charge a 9mm case with tight grip. So
Okay. Jason just confirmed that it was tight group that they used. With Bullseye, it's even worse. Bullseye is the fastest powder there is on the market that I know of. And it's even faster than tight group, which means you could probably quadruple charge Bullseye in a 38 special case.
Mhm.
I wouldn't even do that in 357 Magnum.
Well, you got to remember the old load for 38 wad cutter was a 2.7 grains of
That's
Bullseye
right. Yep.
on a full wad cutter, and that was a destroyer of handguns for the longest time.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
A lot of us switched over to Winchester 231 instead of using Bullseye in it because of the volume.
It's a bit more bulky in volume. That's right.
You know.
So it's one of those things. If you're cranking out a lot of ammo and you're trying to do it in a hurry, you may not want to use a powder like tight grip or Bullseye. You may want to find something that fills your case better, so that way you don't have to. You're not worried. You still have to worry. Always worry, but you're lessening your chances of double charging a case without creating a mess. So most of the time on progressives, it's hard to double charge a case. It's not impossible. On a 550, it's actually really easy.
Yep.
Because if you go, oh, I forgot to spin it, boom.
Yeah.
And I've always found if you get it interrupted, whether it be a phone call, your wife talks to you, take a look at those couple cases around there. If you're going to do something bad, it's normally during that interruption.
Powders that work, that are easy to drop, accurate number 5 in a 9mm, accurate number 7 in a 9mm. Both of them will not let you drop a double charge. It will spill over the case. Okay. In 38 Super, number 7 works a little better. Or True Blue will not let you double charge a case. Unique. Hard to double charge a case with Unique. You can do a 357 and double charge a 357 with Unique. But a 38 special, it's pretty hard. Mount a light on your press so you can look down in there if you're not running a charging die, a powder check die.
Yep. Yeah, if you're not running a powder check die or a powder cop, whatever you want to call it, then
mount a light. Mount a light. Put a mirror there, something so you can see into that case.
Yep.
And see what's going on.
You could use a camera. So.
Jason Bauer.
So what is a good primer for loading bulk 7.62x39 for use in an AR platform? Softer primer. Federals are going to be a softer primer. But I think that you would probably have to be careful with that because you don't want to worry. You don't want to set yourself up for slam fires.
Yeah.
So I would probably,
It's a large primer, and I would probably run a 34 in it, a CCI 34, because of a slam fire issue. I've never seen a 7.62 by 39 with even in an AR that didn't have a spring well enough to really it's got a lot of swing with that hammer there. It's not a striker fired gun. It's got a hammer and a firing pin. There is no spring on the firing pin. So I want to have a hard primer there. I want to have a 34.
He said he gets lots of light strikes with steel case ammo.
Yeah. Steel case ammo, definitely, yes. But brass ammo, no. He won't get a light strike with brass ammo.
Yeah. So we're done with our ammo. What are we going to do with it? Where should we put it?
We put it in a magazine so we can go shoot it.
Well, in between.
Well, I'd get a ammo box and throw it in the ammo box and mark it what it is.
There you go.
Nothing fancy, 30 caliber ammo box or a 50 caliber ammo box. That's all you need.
Coffee can,
There you go. It's hard to get good coffee cans nowadays.
Yeah, but the good news is now they're plastic, so you don't have to worry about them rusting on you. Anything that we forgot, guys?
I think you're going to want some kind of reloading data card in there.
Yeah.
Time, powder, stuff like that.
Okay. Powder, charge, seating, COAL maybe.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that'll work.
There you go. So what Paul did is on his ammo can. Was that grease pencil or was that paint?
That's paint.
Okay. So he painted on LC for the
case.
Yep. Then he's got what the actual cartridge is, and then he's got how many grains of what powder.
Bullet weight, 147.
Bullet weight. And then what's the last one over on the far
Planking
side?
load. Planking load. Yeah.
Okay. So there you go.
My guess those are pulled bullets too.
Let's see. I don't
147.
remember. Nope.
No.
Nope.
Okay.
So
That's nothing we tell. I bought a lot of 147 grain pulled bullets just for planking loads.
exactly.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. You're not trained for accuracy. So
No.
Running with Scissors said he was using a new press and he missed priming a case. I pulled the trigger, it wouldn't go bang. Only reason, no powder spillage. Accurate 4350. So I have run full circle. Yeah, 4350 is big enough. It's not going to come out through the flash hole. The problem, you could break a firing pin.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the firearm, the age of the firearm, there's entirely possibility you could break a firing pin if there's no primer there. So just as a forewarning, it's not a common occurrence. It's a rare occurrence, but it's a possibility. So
That's another thing I do. It's something I've done when I reload. When I go, because I do priming, I do each step differently. Like when I get done priming, I of course double check and I put it face down inside my reloading tray, so I can tell. Okay, everything looks prime, and then I go next step, get a different reloading tray, and then of course powder would be next. Just go after that. So.
But we're bulk loading here, so we're sitting there running it through. Some of the presses do not have a way of warning you that you are out of primers. Like Dylan has the damn buzzer, but other ones have a rod that stops the priming system. I think Hornady does, and I'm not sure if RCBS does or not. I haven't used that one of their 5s or 7s.
Yeah, because of the type press we use, I don't prime on the press. I just
Okay.
don't. I don't like Lee's on the press priming system. I use the RCBS bench mount primer, and I can fly. I can load hundreds of rounds fast with those tubes, and then I go when I get ready to reload. It's already primed, and I just go right into charge the case and go from there.
We've started to use that auto index on our lead presses a lot more.
Yeah.
Since we have our new setups with our
Yeah.
power.
Being that I don't have to
sensors.
worry about priming.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I like to prime off the press.
Yeah.
I'm working to getting Dillon's 550 to prime the way I want it to, but I haven't got it there yet.
Yeah.
So
Are you having problems with seating depth on it, Paul?
consistent seating depth.
Yeah, that is the only problem with that. And I don't know if I can get a decent. No. Yeah. So part of the thing with the priming system is it's this and it's spring loaded. So it's a matter of adjusting your tension and your depth. And so it takes some getting used to and stuff. So it's not that it's not user friendly. It's just can be cantankerous until you figure out exactly how it. So
Right. I'm sitting there playing with an Allen key to push down on it and then another Allen key to tighten it. And when it pushes up, that aluminum collar that goes around it limits how far it's going to go into the case. And so I've been slowly with a whetstone taking it down to try to get the depth that I want out of it. So, but it's showing up as inconsistent still, as I will get 5 thousandths of depth in there, and the next one will be 7.
mm-hmm.
So the thing that I have to look at next is the shell plate, and to see if there's a difference in the thickness of the shell plate, as far as where it catches along the rim, to see if there's difference there.
Yeah.
So trying.
Yep. Alrighty. Anybody got shout outs?
No, we lost Sharenda, so we can't, shout out to her. She's been, she's probably hitting the bottle again.
No, she was in the bottle. She's in the middle of rearranging a reloading room, and she had to move the router. So
yeah, she's
then Jim's computer froze up.
Yeah, so she's hitting the bottle again. Yeah,
there you go. So I guess I'm wondering, also about that. Craigans wants to know, has anyone used the new Frankfurt Arsenal primer tube filler?
I was like, did they redo it? They've had the Vibratum or Prime thing out for a long time.
That's the Vibra Prime. I did a review on it one day, and it was not pleasant because it did not work very well. Maybe they've redesigned it. Maybe they've got a new one. I don't know. I haven't looked at Frankfurt's spot lately. I didn't see anything at Shot. Did you?
No, and I'm looking at the one on the website. It's the same one they've always had that I can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't see it because all those new products were right there in the middle on the table at Shot, and I didn't see it. I didn't even see that thing at the show there at all.
No.
I would try the Mr. Bullet Feeder, the one with that one that they have. The vibrating one.
Yeah. So, it's not that it's junk, Craig. It's that it's cantankerous, and if you don't get one of the ones that's molded just perfect, your primers get stuck, and it takes a lot more. So, uh, plus the fact that it's kind of cheap. I mean, it's not cheap, but it's kind of cheap in its construction. So that's my personal opinion, and my personal opinion does not necessarily reflect the rest of my co-hosts. But so yeah, I had a nice little rant about one day because I bought it, was all excited, got it home, unpackaged it, got it open, and went to fill my Dylan tubes, and it didn't want to fill. So
Hornady had the same one. They did the same thing.
yeah,
It didn't work very well.
no. So
I want to try the Mr. Bullet Feeder, the one that they have. They have one that just does small small primers,
Mhm.
and then they have one that'll do both.
Mhm.
And the more expensive one that does is just small primers.
yeah. So alrighty, well, you'll have to get that and check them out. So
And just so anybody knows that they also make a case feeder for the 550, Mr.
Yep.
Bullet Feeder. So it will do a case feeder, excuse me, it's case feeder for the 550. It'll do 223, 9mm 38 Super 38s, and I don't know if it'll do 45 though. Not sure. Might just need some different tubes. Plus 223. Shout outs. Nope, nothing here.
all right, Nick, Ray.
No, nothing.
Okay.
Well, I'll start off. All right.
Well, no, I've got something I'm doing here in between.
Oh, okay.
Plus, we got to talk about our sponsors. We got to talk about Primary Arms, and we got to talk about Patriot Patch Company. So, first off, Patriot Patch Company. Here is the April patch of the month. I haven't seen the May design yet, but it should be out shortly. Here was the April one. You know, you've got a Mandalorian Easter Bunny on a speeder. So, all sorts of fun. Patch of the month's always something cool and interesting. They've always got sorts of other stuff too. Their last patch drop was 80s action heroes. So you had an action hero with a car and a firearm, and it was all pretty cool stuff. AR-15s, if you're looking to build stuff, Primary Arms is a great place to go. They've got lots of good stuff. So always a good place to check. And bear with me here a second. My computer is being slow. So who's going shooting this week? Anybody?
We might.
Maybe Sunday if I'm off. We got stuff going on Friday, Saturday. Sister's graduating from college, but if I'm off on Sunday, maybe.
There you go.
So, but we'll see. And that's if it doesn't rain.
Yeah, it's kind of the forecast. So
I haven't even looked at the forecast. I don't even care anymore. It's
Right.
spring. It's gonna rain.
yeah, it's just a matter of how hard.
And I can never look at the forecast because it changes by the hour anymore, or down here especially.
Mhm.
So But
So, what else is planned for everybody?
I know I'm working on some videos for the Webley right now. Gonna
Yeah.
probably reload that hopefully this week, later this week, kind of get some loads made up and then kind of go out to the range, get some footage for that.
Yeah.
Depending on when the new rifles get here, I doubt they'll be here by this weekend. If anything, they'll be here late weekend.
But we won't have a
No,
video
the
on
one,
those for
no, yeah, the video won't be up for those for a long time, but
Yeah.
But never know what we're gonna.
I've got some Victorian era rifles
Yeah.
we need to do next.
Yeah, I got some stuff. Oh, well, there's a shout out. I didn't even think about that. I hand me that. I won't show. I did get a kind of a care package from somebody that listens in.
Yeah.
Got a lot of supplies from West Covina Dodge to load for the Snyder and the Martini. So, a ton of different 24 gauge shotgun shell, plastic
Nice.
holes, so I can make some nice, cool round ball loads. And then he sent me a lot of his cases that broke or crumpled in on him that I'll
Yeah.
cut down to make Snyder brass
Snyder
for.
cases.
So,
And who was the other gentleman that sent you some cast bullets to try?
MCK, who's also listens in, he sent me some cast bullets and a mold to try. So hopefully I'm doing some video on that stuff soon. So
Awesome. All right. Almost done. Sorry, the program I'm in for some reason has decided to just absolutely suck my bandwidth and my RAM. So, anyway, all right. Stupid ads. So, the one thing I did not do last week, and that was because there were some personal issues that popped up, is I did not do the drawing for the brass. So that's what I've been doing at the moment, is getting that ready. And so now these are the folks that sent me an email in time. And let's see who won. Michael Dunn is the winner. Congratulations, Michael. You sent me the brass you wanted. I just got to see if I got your address. So, and I think he already left.
I want his luck. I think he won that Frankfurt Arsenal Universal Seating die, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I think I can't remember who gave that away.
that was Sharp.
That's right. Yep. I think he won that too.
Better be lucky than good.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh, Paul Loud said he's got Michael Dunn's address. Ooh, that sounds dangerous. All right, so that's the brass winner for that. As I said, that's going to go out this week. So, but that's pretty much all I got for now.
Conspiracy.
Conspiracy.
What's a conspiracy? Oh, for crying out loud, Craig. Oh, for crying out loud, Craig. Why do I get the feeling Paul Loud's going to send me his address?
Yeah.
The good news, Michael Dunn's a Patreon, so I actually have his address. So, but thanks, Paul. All right, gang. On that note, keep your brass shiny.
Jump on the Mill Soap short bus.
Teach him to shoot and reload when they're young.
Paul. We lost Paul.
You're muted.
Paul's muted.
I bet
Just
he's talking
slap it,
about his
Paul.
grandpa.
Slap it, Paul. It might work.
How about now?
You're very weak.
think he's playing. I think he's got one of those fancy mics that's got mic gain on it, and he
Yeah,
turned
it's
it
got
right
mic
up.
gain and all kinds of stuff on it, and trying to
There
keep
you go.
the noise down. And Grandpa
There you
always said, despite what your mama told you, violence does solve problems. And Jim would say, support the Second Amendment.
Sharonda would
Been-
say, teach a lady to reload. She just might like it, and then hoard your stuff.
Yeah.
And just remember, gang, we want you here. We need you here. If you're struggling, 1-800-273-8255. With how many times I've said it, you think I wouldn't screw it up? Although Confucius says it's better to screw up than screw down, because that way you do less work. But seriously, folks, 1-800-273-8255. Give them a call. They've got lots of experts. And they can get you some help if you're struggling. We need you here. So hang in there. Thank you much, folks, and good night.